this is Ole Westrom. Just one question to Islamic theology. What about the subject of abrogation?
Yeah.
Heard about? Is that enforced or what is it?
Yeah. So there is a concept in the Islamic theology called abrogation. It is about later Quran passages that was cancelling the earlier Quran passages. In fact, the concept of abrogation was coming out of a dilemma, an embarrassment of the theologians who started to explain the Quran. They were faced with the fact that many passages of the Quran are saying no violence, be patient with those who are violent to you or unfair to you. They were promoting the concept of freedom of religion. There is no compulsion in religion, for example. You read these things in the Quran, and a lot of these are very tolerant, not accepting violence, and other passages of the Quran are telling, kill the unbelievers wherever you find them. Whenever you see the unbeliever, you should hit their fingers and you should hit their throats. Until some of the passages saying that fight even against the Jews and the Christians until they pay the jizya or the tax, religious tax. So it was a dilemma for the theologians in the 8th and 9th century, and said, how come that you have the message and the opposite of the message? So the theologians invented this concept to say the later passages are the valid one, and they were cancelling the earlier one. In fact, it was an attempt, but for me, the story is very clear. It's a development of Muhammad through 23 years. I told you the story in the speech. He was moderate, poet, sensitive, a social reformer at the beginning. And when you come with a new message and you don't have any weapons, it's very normal that you don't tell them, believe in me or I will kill you. So you come with values, with thoughts, with meditations about the earth and the skies and the planets. So there are very poetic verses at the beginning, and you say, you have your religion and I have mine, because I will profit from tolerance more than you when I am coming with a new religion. So I am the one, as a minority, who would profit from the tolerance. But when I'm the king, so I'm not going to say, give God what God's is and give the king what the king has, or the Kaiser, if I'm the Kaiser myself. So that's the issue. So he became violent later, and he needed these violent passages to just motivate his soldiers to invade more lands, to kill more people, to raise more taxes, and to control Arabia. So then later, people were confronted with this. Is God contradictory? Is God contradicting himself? One time he's preaching peace and tolerance, and one time he's preaching, no, it's not about God. Therefore, it's a development of Muhammad and his community, and therefore we have these two sides of the Quran. By the way, I have another book in German called Quran, the message of love and the message of hatred. I'm exactly dealing with this development and the two sides of the Quran, where they come from, and the context of everything. Yes.
Hi. What is your take on Afghanistan and the future development in the region?
Yeah. I heard in the last weeks, reading the newspaper, everybody is blaming the West for what happened in Afghanistan. Everyone was blaming the Afghani army or the Afghani government, but no one at all was blaming the Afghan people. So as if they had nothing to say about what's happening. I believe no dictator could ever take power in a country if not the majority of this country are on his side and accepting that. And that's the problem with Taliban and Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas and Boko Haram and Daesh, IS, all of them. When they take the power in one place, it's not because they have the weapons. It's because the majority of people are on their side or the majority of people are silent. And I just can't take it. So you see these pictures in Afghanistan from the 60s with women wearing mini jib and like modern, and then you think, oh, Afghanistan was almost a European country. No, it has never been the case. There was some slight European influence in Afghanistan at the time. There was a king who is governing by appointing the tribe leaders and the religious leaders to do the dirty jobs for him. So they were taking care of the communities. It was not a central government. It was just a tribal system, and it's still a tribal system. And this is one of the problems I have with Muhammad too. Not only that he implanted the seed of intolerance in the heart of this religion, but he made it impossible for Muslims to find a new social contract beyond religion and tribalism. So the only source of social contract in the Muslim countries are remaining only the tribal system or the Sharia law. And in most of the countries they are combined. So we have either like the clear Sharia law like in Iran, or I created the term Bedouin tribalism or Bedouin Stalinism. It's the desert Stalinism. So we had the Stalinism of Stalin, which was in Russia, and we have the Arabic Islamic tribal Stalinism. So either you have the IS or you have Saddam Hussein. Either you have the Al-Qaeda or you have, Bashar al-Assad or Gaddafi. So you have always one of these, either the tribal Stalin or the religious Stalin. So the religious Stalin is Khomeini, the tribal Stalin is Saddam Hussein. They were fighting each other, but at the end they are the same, because they did not integrate the modern social contract in the tradition of David Hume, John Locke, and Rousseau, and Comte, that there is a contract between the citizen and the people. I have just read the laws of Jutland from the 13th century in Denmark. This is the beginning of the democratic state. The king is announcing at the beginning, the laws are made by the king, but they can change. And they have to be approved by the people, accepted by the people. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of the idea of a democratic society. But when you come and say, there's nothing called the citizen. The word citizen in the Arabic is a very new word. It was translated from French in the 19th century. Yeah. Even the word homeland was not there. Because in the Islamic terminology, there is no homeland, there is ummah, the Islamic community. Where is that? Everywhere where we can go is Islamic ummah. So there are no borders. So the state by definition is a contract between me and the government and between us as citizens. That's the state. We don't have something like that in the Arab world and the Muslim countries, because the Sharia is defining the social contract. It means God says this is the law, and God's word cannot change, because God is timeless. And there is no individual. It's always the community, the collective. And that's why Afghanistan is failing, and that's why all the liberation movements in the Arab world and the Muslim countries ended up later in dictatorships, because they couldn't find this social contract based on the individual. Yes?
One question for you. Sorry. Thank you for having us today. I would like to ask you, what do you think the future of Islam after 1,500 years from now? Yeah. And what do you think is the democracy is a solution for everything, for the rest of humanity's time?
Thank you. No, democracy is not the solution of everything. And I see the problems we are having now with the rest of the world who is not democratic, that they can go faster than the democratic countries in the sense of technology and governing, like in Asia, in China, in Korea, in Vietnam, in Indonesia. You see that they are more effective, they can get things done in Russia, and that is giving us the thought maybe democracy is not the solution for every country. I've always heard, and I believe so, democracy is the second best system in which we can live, because the first or the best one was not invented yet. So let's see what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen in 1,500 years from now. I'm not a prophet. But I can imagine that we as humanity, we are not going backwards for a long time. The history of humanity is the history of evolution. And evolution took place much longer before humanity came. And humanity became a part of it. And just like the nature has developed, and the human being evolved from other animals and became an independent being, also the consciousness of human being has developed. Yes, when we just sit right now and talk about the problems we are having in the world with integration, with terrorism, with China, with the future, with the economy, you think, oh my God, it's so horrible. And when I catch myself sometimes in this pessimism, when I see, oh, there are so many problems to solve. But when I want to make myself a little bit optimistic, I look back and I see the road we have taken as humanity. It's amazing. It's amazing that, look at the history of this country, where it was 1,000 years ago and where it is today. Look at the wars in Europe just 80 years ago and where Europe is today. So it's not a determinant of history, or it's not a must that people remain the same. Like if you visited Baghdad in the 9th century and then after that you came to Europe, maybe during that time you could have said, oh, Baghdad, that's fantastic, that's the city, that's the civilization, they had good bars and good cafes, and they have good hospitals there, they have chemistry, philosophy, and everything. And here it was not the case. And then things changed because something has changed in the consciousness, in the collective consciousness of people in Europe. the Renaissance started to appear in Europe. The art, never underestimate what art can change in the minds of people. And then out of this art, a theological discussion about the church, and then the Reformation, and then the Enlightenment, the revival of the Greek philosophy and the appearance of philosophers like Descartes and Spinoza and Kant and Kierkegaard later. So this is a process of development that brought Europe today in this stage. Could it happen in the Islamic world too? Yes, it can. Is it difficult? Extremely difficult. Why? Because of this Islamic social contract, which is considered to be holy, which is considered to be directly from God. But does it have to be like this all the time? No. So we have two paths. Either the Islamic world will reconcile with the rest of the world, especially with the West, and learn from it, and adapt the modern governing system, the modern education systems, and the modern social standards dealing with women, dealing with bringing up children, or it will, through its isolation, will destroy itself. It's not like the people will disappear, but the ability to carry these states will not remain. The economy of tomorrow needs more flexibility, more knowledge, more technology, more artificial intelligence. And if you lock yourself down this time, history will not forgive you. The Islamic world made a mistake in the Middle Ages, or especially not in the 16th century. When the book print was coming out in Germany, Gutenberg was inventing the printing machine. This printing machine was changing the world, changing Europe. The thoughts of Martin Luther first spread because it was the same time, and then the books of Spinoza, later of Kant, they were spreading. People, the privatization of knowledge, that there is no monopoly of knowledge anymore by the church or by the king, that the people get access to that. Today, the internet is playing this role. The Islamic world during that time refused the printing machine because they were afraid that they will falsify the Quran and you cannot control it anymore. So because of fear, because of religion, they refused the printing machine, and they were cut from the development that happened in Europe. And the religious leaders acted the same when the internet was coming to the Islamic world. They were saying it's the devil. The devil is entering your bedrooms and living rooms. Take care of your children. The devil is coming. The devil is coming. But they couldn't stop it. And they cannot afford this time to isolate themselves from the rest of the world. It's a question of survival. They cannot eat anymore. They cannot drink oil or petrol. They need to cooperate with the world. And now there are some voices saying that Sharia did not help us build a functioning society. You can say that in the Islamic world today. But in Europe, you can say, you will find people who would say, there is no contradiction between Sharia and Danish law. You'll find them. And the joke is they believe it. So that's how. If you live under Sharia, you already tasted and paid the price so that you cannot say that anymore. Ask people in Iran. Ask people in Somalia or who lived under IS. They hear the word Sharia, they pee in their pants. And here, tell some left-wing romantic Dane, Sharia, Sharia, it's the scent of the Orient, it's falafel, it's nice. No, it's not cute at all. Those who lived under it paid the price, and they knew their society couldn't function and they couldn't be a part of the modern world. It's a fact. So I count on evolution, not on revolution. I count on the evolution of human consciousness, also in the Islamic world. And as a writer, I can do nothing more than counting on this consciousness, than challenging this consciousness, than writing, raising question, to engage in these debates. And the outcome will be how people, the majority of people, will decide in these societies. All right.
Hello. I'm very impressed by the many followers you have on YouTube. 35 million. That is political power. Do you say on your channel, start suppressing women, start persecuting and killing other religions, stop killing homosexuals? How do you suggest to reform Islam to be a part of the modern international world? Will Islam implode?
Yeah, I'm saying all of that, of course, because I'm saying in Arabic exactly what I'm saying in English or in German or whatever language I write. I decided to have only one tongue, not multiple tongues. You know, there are people who have double talks. They say different things in Arabic than they say in Danish or in German, because the community is different. But for me, freedom cannot be divided and cannot be compromised. And if you talk about freedom, of course, the first things, I dedicated 5 or 6 episodes in my channel to talk about how Muhammad dealt with women and conveying these messages to the Arab viewers, how this influenced the way we deal with women until today. And I was demontaging the figure of Muhammad and how he dealt with women, so that to know there was nothing holy about it. It was his maybe sickness that he dealt with women that way. And this is exactly was a powerful way to reach especially women, because you can come and say today in the Islamic world, we should give women their rights and we should do this and this. It's not reaching people really. But when you combine that with the story of Muhammad and how he dealt with women, how women suffered because of him in the course of history. And then I come to the normal Muslim girl today, and I enter her mind and I talk to her about her daily life, how much it's influenced by these thoughts of Muhammad 1400 years ago. She gets the point and she knows, my suppression has something to do with my faith. It's not a misunderstanding. It's not just like the West is saying that. It's my daily life. I can see it. My father is dealing with me that way because he believes that this is the right thing, not because he hates her. So yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I have episodes about homosexuality. I have episodes about sexuality in general, sex and Islam, everything you can imagine. Because after destroying the figure of Muhammad, there are no taboos anymore. So I can talk about everything.
Hello, my name is Nina. You mentioned paying tax to the Muslim people in your talk before, and I just wonder, is paying for halal certification limit tax that we pay as in disguise?
Again,
We, all goods in Denmark are paying, all productions are paying halal certification, and of course the users paid.
yeah.
Is it a hidden way of paying tax to the Muslim world?
I got your point.
A good point.
It's a good point, because there was a an Islamist in, I don't know if it's England or Norway, I guess England, who was asked about how would you live in the West and get social help from the West, and your country is getting development money, help from the West, but you are attacking the West. And his answer was, it's the money of Allah. It's the money of Allah, and it's coming back to us.
Anjem
So
Chowdhury.
there is no.
I think it was Anjem Chowdhury, wasn't it?
Yes,
Saying it was
yes, it
jihadist
was England.
Yugoslavia.
Now I remember exactly. His name was Chaudhry, Anjem Chaudhry. Yeah. And so, from his point of view, Muslims should govern the world, and the non-believers, those who are not Muslims, should pay the jizya or the dhimmi tax, and that's for him. The social help and the development money are part of this. This should not be the discussion, because what people expect and what you do is something else. When we talk about tax money, let's see where these tax monies are spent. That should be the real discussion, not the religious connotation of it. Every penny spent for the education of young Muslims in Denmark is good for them and is good for Denmark, no doubt. As long as this education is on the roots of freedom and humanity. But every penny that is paid to Muslim organizations in the name of diversity, in the name of freedom of religion, is not only a lost money, it's a money that is going to be used against the free society. And it does, all the time. And we have the situation in Europe, I think it's the same in Denmark like in Germany and somehow in France, that the well-organized Muslims are not the nice ones. So there are many nice Muslims living in Denmark who are secular or who are believers but not political. They are also existing. And we have no problem with them at all. They are Danish citizens. They understand themselves as Danish citizens or German citizens. But they are not organized, and they don't have the urge to be organized. Why should secular Muslim be organized in a secular country? The mistake of the Danish or the German society, or the Austrians, it's always the same problem. They want to deal with Muslims as a collective, as a group. So what do Muslim needs? As if it's one block. Tribalism again. And the first and the best organized are the followers of Erdogan, the Muslim Brotherhood, and the Salafis. They have the infrastructure, they have the clubs, they have the mosques, and they come and say, give me money. For what? For integration? Anything. Any good word that you like. For inclusion. For living together. They are becoming clever with time. They are not saying, now give me money so that I can raise jihad against you. They know their left friends are not happy, will not be happy for that. So they know what does the left like. Say inclusion, say integration, say living together in peace. Yeah, and then the naive governments give them money. Yeah, make them even stronger. They take money from Erdogan, from Qatar, from the Gulf states, give them even more money so that they will occupy the scenery. And they appear, and this is something the governments didn't understand until today, when I make those organizations strong, when I invite them to sit on the round table with the Danish government or with the municipality or the city hall, or invite them and give them this profile, the young Muslims in the suburbs or in the ghettos, They will look and say, look, there is a career possibility with this group. The guy could hardly speak Danish, but he's invited by the prime minister. So I want to be there. So I don't have to make efforts. I have to have a beard. And then just go and say like, I'm a Muslim, let's live together, integration is good. And then I can say whatever I want when I'm back with my people. And this is what's happening. And how naive are we to accept that and to put the tax money in developing those things? In fact, by doing that, I am making a siege around Muslims who could have the chance to be Danish citizens. I accept them only when they come as representative of these Muslim groups. And those Muslim groups, they live from the gap between Muslims and the Danish society. They need this gap. They legitimize themselves through this gap. Take care, this is not a Muslim society. They eat, not halal. Their banks are not halal. Come to us. I will give you the halal meat and the halal bank, and I will speak in your name. You are now a member of my tribe. Welcome in the 7th century. This is what happens, and the government is supporting that. This is the worst integration policy I have ever seen. It brings nothing. I repeat it again and again with all the passion I have. The best thing you can offer immigrants and their kids is the concept of freedom and the concept of civil society and the Danish round table called and this hygge. So that's that we talk. But I support an imam who is not even discussing with his son at home or with his daughter. I am talking with him about the freedom of religion. He takes money from the state in the name of freedom of religion. He takes a lot of advantages and privileges in the name of his religion, but I cannot even discuss with him about the freedom of his daughter. No, that's my issue. Just give me the money, go home, or go to Christiania, and everything will be fine. No. So that's how we should discuss these issues about the tax money. I can give you one example. There is a goodwill in the society that people don't want. Every decent human being should be against racism. But how we fight racism, that's the important thing. So the University of Humboldt in Berlin, very prestigious university, wants to fight racism at the university. So they decided to initiate a new job to fight racism. But in the job description, they are writing, for white people, please don't apply for this job. You're laughing. This is becoming reality now thanks to identity politics. You can say every bad thing about white people. You can discriminate them. You can tell them you are racist by birth. You are still not a racist. And you can allow an Islamist to be a member of a government community or anti-racism corpus of the government, and that's in the name of inclusion. So that's what I was talking about, how identity politics are bringing back this tribalism. Now we look at colors. Oh, you are white man. Say sorry. I don't know what you have done in your life, but first say sorry. And then after you say sorry, I have to think, should I accept it or not? Who am I and who are you? Why are we dealing with each other according to our colors? I am responsible for myself today, what I have done today. I cannot say sorry for what the pharaohs did in Africa. I don't want to. They did bad things too. So, but the identity politics is interested in history and interested in language. They cannot change their reality. Therefore, they're trying to change the language. Oh, how we make gender language, how should we say Islamist or Islamism or religious extremism? So they say religious extremism, but they mean Islamism, but they don't want to say Islamism because Islamism is coming from Islam. Oh, good. Now we solved the problem. The Taliban will know they are not Islamists anymore, but religious extremists will be kinder to the women. No. Islamism remains Islamism. And it's coming from Islam. Where else? And the relation between Islam and Islamism is exactly like the relation between alcohol and alcoholism. You cannot have one without the other. And it's a question of the dosage. How much you consume Islam and how much you consume Carlsberg or whatever schnapps. Yeah. So when you are having a glass of wine, religious, this will calm you maybe, could even be healing and make you feel good. But in every situation in your life, you go to Jägermeister and you start drinking the schnapps, that's what conservative Muslims are doing. To every situation, they have to go to the bottle. That's Islamism. That's alcoholism.
Yeah. Time is running in this great company, so there is only room left for one more question, and we will do it in a row. So I think it was Nasser.
That was your luck.
Thank you, Hamid. I'm one of the 35 million viewers. I've seen all Sanduk al-Islam. Very interesting. I follow you, and I also follow Brother Rashid. So my question is, why do you not convert to Christianity? Christianity is a part of the Western culture, the German culture, Danish culture.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe I need short time. I converted from religion to knowledge. That's very strong. I don't need to change from one religion to another religion. Because I think at the end of the day, it's not the religion itself. It's the attitude and the culture it's embedded in. So there was a time Christianity in Europe was not having good time, and people were not having good time with it because the culture dominating in Europe in the Middle Ages was not a culture of open speech, was not a culture of embracing the other, it was not a culture of diversity. So I left Islam because I am an individual and I want to go my path without a guide. There are people who needs faith, Muslims, Christians, Jews, and Buddhists, and it's fine and it's great that they can find peace of mind within their religion. I have another nature. I want to go on my own, and through my experience in life, I discover life. Through my mistakes, through encountering other people. So the world is not just a bipolar world where there is good religion and bad religion, there is Islam and there is Christianity. No, there is numberless ways to find your own truth, to find your path in life. I respect everybody who decides. Rashid is my friend, for example. He decided to leave Islam and he embraced Christianity and he found peace in Christianity. And I like that. I see it. I see that in his family. I see that he became a better person, and that's how is he going through life. It helped him a lot, and it's a part of his character. I am the one who travels light, who doesn't need a guide, who learns. I'm an autodidact. I learn by myself. I don't need a teacher. I don't need a savior. I believe honesty, respecting each other, trying to understand where you come from, no matter if you're Muslim, Christian, or an atheist. And I believe that love is much greater than any ideology. And love needs to be free. According to my experience, love cannot be written or described in a book. Love is embedded in us as human beings. It's a part of our evolution. It is our chance, and we can find this love whenever we are honest to ourselves, whenever we are brave to take this step. Most of people on this planet, they inherit their religion. They take it from their parents. They don't even have a chance to figure out, is it really their own experience? Is it really the true message? Or they are just emotionally attached to it because they got it from their parents or it's a part of their culture. I had the courage to jump over the walls of my religion, the walls of my personal history, the walls of tribalism, and I love to be on my own in this life with the people I love. Thank you.
Thank you very much.